Hi there everybody, I'm Bill from Tiny House Prepper, and today I want to talk to you about long-term food storage and specifically how to organize your long-term food storage, which can be a problem. Tiny House Prepper. Now if you have started storing food long-term, you very quickly discover there's a problem with how to organize your food storage. All food has to be rotated. If you're using canned goods from the grocery store, that's fine, but most of those only have a 2 or maybe 3 year shelf life according to the expiration dates on the can. Now personally I think they can last much longer than that as long as the can's not damaged. But, you know, so we go with the stated expiration date on the can. That means you have to rotate them all the time. Now, if you're using Thrive Life freeze-dried food, most of that has a 25-year shelf life. Some of it has a 10-year shelf life. You have to look on the can to see. But most of it has 25 years. But you still want to rotate those, even though it's not quite as critical. So, when I first started storing food, I didn't know about Thrive Life and I was just buying canned goods from the grocery store. And I would come home with some new stuff and I had a bunch of stuff on the shelves, and in order to rotate you got to put the new stuff in the back. So I always had to take out all of the stuff that I already had and set it on the floor and then put the new stuff in the back and then put the older stuff back in front again. That way I'm always using the oldest, and that's how you rotate it. It was a royal pain in the neck. Sometimes it took me as long to get the food on the racks because of the way I had to do that as it did to actually go to the grocery store to buy some more food. So what's the solution? Well, Thrive Life has the solution. It's called long-term food storage rotation system. Now when Thrive Life first started, they made these racks that would automatically rotate your food, which are really cool. And in fact, when it first started, that was their only product, and it wasn't called Shelf Life. It wasn't called Thrive Life. It was called Shelf Reliance. And they were making these racks to rotate your food. And then after that, they introduced a product line of freeze-dried food that they called Thrive Life line by Shelf Reliance. And then eventually they realized that the food was going to be their main product, so they actually changed their name to Thrive Life. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you one of these food rotation system racks that they have. I'm going to put it together for you and show you how it works. It's really fabulous. Now this is really easy to put together because it's just got these holes here, these slots, and then on here has these little tabs that fit right into the slot. Make sure you can see that. They just fit right into the slot and slide down. And that's all there is to it. So you don't even have to, screw anything together. They all just go into the slots like that. When I first started putting these bottom ones on, see how it's got an angle here? I did it this way and it didn't work. So then I looked at the directions and discovered you have to do it the other way, like this. Then these line up on the holes on the bottom. Every once in a while, a man will actually read the instructions. Not very often, but if it doesn't work, then you go to the instructions. That's how it works, you know. Elizabeth would have read the instructions cover to cover before she started. Such a waste of time. I'd rather put it all together and then find out it's wrong than take it apart and have to do it again after I read the instructions. That's the manly way to do it. I just discovered this one has a logo on it. Thrive Life right there. So I'm going to put this on the top where it belongs. So there's the basic frame together, and that only took me a couple of minutes to do. When you put these in place, see this little hole, this slot goes into the big hole and then you hammer it down. You want to hammer up here to make sure it seats completely all the way down into the bottom part of the narrow slot, or else it won't hold properly. See how it's all the way down in there. Now these are completely customizable. That you can set them for the number 10 family cans, the large ones, or you can set them for pantry cans, or you can set them for the soup can size from the grocery store. And there's a little chart here. You have to put these cross braces in. There's a little chart here that tells you where to put them based on what size you're going to be what size cans you're going to be putting into the rack. These are the can racks. These are the racks that actually hold the cans. I got all the ones in the back in the first section in the front. I just want to make sure this actually fits. There it is. Fits right in there. So now I've got all of the cross braces in there. Now I got to install the can tracks. Now like I said, this is completely customizable. I purchased the one that fits the number 10 family cans, and so that these tracks are large. You can also buy ones that will all fit all pantry cans, and those tracks are smaller when you get those. Or you can get a variety rack that has several of the large ones and several of the small ones, and you have to get the right size can track to fit it. Now I can fit smaller cans on here, that's just wasted space, but you cannot fit the larger cans into the small tracks. So now I'm going to install all the can tracks. So we'll put in the top rack first. This has got a double thing here that slides in between in the back there. Just like that. Now the width here can be adjusted. If you have pantry cans, you can make it narrower, or for soup cans from the grocery store, you can make it even narrower yet. But the way you adjust that and lock it into place on the bottom of the track is there's these little things here, and there's a couple here, and there's a couple right there. And then they have these spacer bars. These are nylon. They look like plastic. You think, oh, they're not going to last, but they're made out of like a hard plastic nylon kind of stuff, and they're really tough. So what you do is you get your distance here for the can to make sure it's going to roll easily. And then you use this little spacer, put it up into that little knob there. Whoa. Yeah, that's on the last one. And you put one down here. And one in the back. So that locks the width into place and it's not going to move. Then you can just take your can. Let me show you how this works. You put it in at the top. It rolls all the way down and around. So you can always put the oldest ones in at the top. I mean the newest ones in at the top. And you're always using the oldest ones from the bottom. Pretty cool. So I'll go ahead and put the rest in place. So the rack build is finished. The whole thing took maybe 45 minutes to an hour to put together. Took me a little bit longer because I was doing the video, and it always takes longer, you know, setting up cameras and stuff. But if you're just going to sit down with the instructions and do it, I think you could probably do it in 45 minutes. So this is set up, like I said, for the number 10 cans, for the family cans. How cool is that? They gave me all of these extra connectors, a whole handful of them. Yeah. A whole bag full of them. Whoa! With a hole in it. These are the connectors that go between there. That way, you can actually order extra tracks, can tracks, single ones. So if you wanted to put some of these closer together, so that you could put a few, have family cans in here and then put a few pantry cans. That way you've got those extra connectors down there. You just buy a couple of extra can tracks separately, put those closer together, and then you can have a row of pantry cans or small, you know, soup cans or whatever you want to do. Completely customizable. It's going to take me a little while to get this all organized. Whatever you put in one slot, you pretty much want the same thing all the way through. Otherwise, if you've got something else buried in the back, you won't be able to get to it. So I'm going to put meats across the top here. And then down here I've got gluten-free flour that we use a lot of. And this is the beef slices. This is going to be the hamburger. So I got to take them out of the boxes and put them where they belong. Now we have most of our long-term storage stored elsewhere, off-site. We're putting this one here. You probably recognize this is in our shed. We're just putting the ones here of things that we use the most so that we don't have to run over to the other place where all our food is stored every time we run out of a can. So for now, this is all that I have here with me. I'm going to have to go over to our storage site, pick up enough to fill up the rest of this rack. But you can see now how this works. When you buy new food, you put it in at the top, it rotates around. That way when you take this, you're always using the oldest one so you can rotate it. See how that works? And then when you buy a new one, you just put it in at the top. Very cool. For the family size cans that I have here, each track, each bay holds 7 cans. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then there's 4 racks, 4 bays across per row. So you got 28 on each row. So that means if you're using this rack for the family size cans, it'll hold a total of 112 cans. That's a lot of food. Now just so you know what I'm talking about here, let me show you the difference in sizes. On the left is the Thrive family can. It's a 1-gallon can. That's a can of ground beef. In the middle is the Thrive pantry can. That is a can of spaghetti sauce. That's like, or they call it tomato sauce, but it's like if you go to the grocery store and buy a can of Prego spaghetti sauce or something like that, but this is in powdered form. And then on the right is the typical size can you get from the grocery store. That's whole beets. We actually use canned beets because for some reason Thrive does not have freeze-dried beets. I don't know why. So we have the beets on there on the right. So there's the 3 different sizes. Now besides the large rack that I just built, I just showed you, they also have these smaller racks that they call consolidator. And it's designed to fit either the grocery store cans or the pantry cans. These are also, they're smaller, and if you have a large kitchen cupboards or a pantry in your kitchen, these may very well fit into your pantry. They have all the measurements on the website, so be sure to measure carefully before you buy them. I hate for you to buy them and find out they don't fit in your cupboard, so measure that carefully. But this is actually the picture on the box, and this shows the grocery store cans, and then you can see it's completely customizable as far as width because they have a narrow one in there in the center for tuna cans. But we will not be using it for those size cans. We will be using it for pantry cans. And there's the actual rack down below. I took out the narrow one for the tuna so that the pantry cans will fit in it. So this works very well for pantry cans. It's also designed so that this is the brace that attaches them together, and you've got another one on top, and if you want to stack them, this will work as the bottom brace for the next row. So you can stack them up higher, 2 or 3 high. You can also connect them on here so you can extend them further to the side. You can make this whole thing as big as you want, and like I said, it'll store the pantry cans that are in there now or these size cans, but this is a little bit, I would have to adjust the size for that. So now I have actually taken 2 of these consolidator racks and attached them together right here. For now I just have a piece of plywood sitting on top. I got to do something more permanent, but that'll sit right there and that'll hold all of our pantry cans. We love the Thrive sauce mixes, so this is going to work perfectly for this. This is the creamy white sauce. This is the classic tomato sauce, spaghetti sauce basically. Savory beef gravy. Rich chicken gravy. So we've got all of our sauce mixes up here on top. Now, I also want to take this opportunity to say this, and I say it as often as I can. As far as the meats, all of the meats have a 25-year shelf life before they open. the chicken, all of the beef, and the sausage, after you open it, has a 1-year shelf life. But the ham, the pulled pork, and the turkey, once they open, they only have a 2-week shelf life. Now I question that. How could it be just 2 weeks? And what I was told was that it's because of the type of fat that's in those meats that it doesn't freeze dry well. Once you just open the can, it can go rancid after a couple of weeks. Here's the reason I mention this. If you're going to buy those meats, pulled pork, ham, or turkey, I recommend that you buy them in pantry cans, not in the number 10, not in the family cans. Also, once you open them, you know, if you're going to just have it in a pantry can, if you open it, if you eat that meat several times within the next couple weeks, you can eat that can up. Otherwise, for now, put it in the freezer, and that should take care of it. Of course, in the end of the world scenario, if there's no electricity and you don't have a freezer, you just have to eat it up quickly. That's why I recommend that you buy those meats in the pantry can. So we're going to also have some of those meats stored up here. So there you have it. It's the fabulous Thrive food storage system that you can use to store your family cans, your pantry cans, and any cans that you buy from the grocery store. Now, they're on the website, the Thrive website, like I said, and I'll put a link in the description below that'll take you right specifically to that page, and you can go ahead and check them out. It's got all the dimensions so you can measure and make sure it's going to fit wherever you want to put it before you buy it. So I hope this has been helpful if you're actually storing food for the long term and not just using your Thrive on a daily basis, which we do both. But if you're actually storing your food for the long term, this is the way to do it. So go ahead and check it out. Thank you very much.